Today we're going to be going back to the 1876 Centennial Exposition in Philadelphia, where I located this selection of graphics, these images that had been taken in the years 1867 to 1869. So this photo album was on display at the Centennial Exposition. Taken by two gentlemen that had this photographic company for 2 years only. They got together and decided we're going to take photos of Philadelphia. And they did. For 2 years they took these photos, and then they were on display 7 years later at the exposition, the Centennial Exposition in Philadelphia, because of the quality of these images, surely, to show off to the world just how good these two gentlemen's cameras really were. So, let's crack on. We're going to have a look through these things. Now, this first image is of the Chestnut Street Theatre. So we'll have a look around at what we can see. I have provided us with a selection of darkened photos so that we can pick out some of the other aspects in the image. Now notice this flag. Does this look like a real flag to you? Is that shutter speed? You can see a piece of the pole up there, but the pole seems to disappear. In between here, it's been almost wiped out completely. And then we have the flag, which looks decidedly drawn on, which is something they used to do. It wasn't necessarily for nefarious purposes, but what they would do is if an image looked bad because they couldn't capture the flags, then they would just draw them on to make the image look better. That's not a conspiracy, it's not lunacy, it's something they would actually do. Now, in this circumstance, it's probable that they didn't want to draw too defined because it'd make it look too unrealistic. So by drawing it like this, which looks like smudged pencil, it almost will get away with being part of a blurred image. But if you look down here at the quality of the image, you can clearly see that these two things don't match, and shutter speed isn't accounting for that. Now, if we come down to the bottom here, some people will say that this isn't mud flooded, but if you imagine standing next to this window here, you would be right, your head would be up to here, wouldn't it? Roundabout. These windows are at your body level. So when you think about in your house, how often windows start at the floor and come up to your neck? Not often. You know, window usually starts at your waist. Now obviously these, if you walk in, these are long windows, so you can see the difference in the size of these. Now behind this staircase up to the first level, you can see more windows. So presumably these windows go the same length into the ground as these two do. You see? So that raises a lot of questions about how deep this building actually goes, and you can see in the background the same thing on these ones. So we will have a peek at the top of this tower. Or actually no, we'll jump over to the next image where we've got ourselves a darkened image. So we'll have a look at this. Now I can't decide which one looks better, but now on top we can see some kind of dome which would appear to be glass, but it also looks like it could just be like the iron framework of the dome, because you can see right in there, you can really see into the bottom of that. So that does make you wonder whether that's glass or not. As you can see, a teeny bit looks like it's missing there from the image, but now here you can clearly see that this is not a flag. I'm not saying it wasn't a flagpole, but I think they've tried to do something there to add the flag in, and then now I'm not sure if that's damage to the building, but that looks just a little bit odd there. See here, and then here, the way the light is, and then over here, It just looks very odd there, doesn't it? The lighting feels strange. Yeah, there's just something really off about the shading on this building. I don't know what it is, but as someone that's worked with Photoshop a lot, it does feel like there's something not right about the way that this wall works here. But we'll move on from that. I won't focus too long on it. Now, this building is of Market Street, so it's showing businesses on the south side. See all the wiring going across for different purposes. Down here, the horsemen and their carriages. You can see wagons here. And down here, we'll notice a lot of shops that go down into the ground, which is very strange, isn't it? Look at that. Also notice we've got the tracks here for the trams. At this point, the trams are supposedly pulled by horses, of course, and nothing else. So now this is the Chestnut Street Bridge. As you can see, we've got two kids here just having a stand for the photograph. Some bloke here with his wheelbarrow. He seems to be collecting or dispersing of these white stones wherever they've come from. As you can see, piles of white stone, and we can see the bridge in the background. The bridge here, huge, beautiful iron structures there. Yep. But if you look at the bank looks, obviously because we have no colour, so it could be green, but it looks rather rocky and muddy and dirty, doesn't it? This big rock here. So where are these from? Is this a destroyed building, perhaps? Or is this some kind of dumping ground for boats, perhaps? Maybe they're dropping rocks and stuff off here. I don't know. This image is a winter rooftop view, which just shows us how the buildings are structured in the 1800s. So look at this. It doesn't look desirable, does it? We've got one kind of larger building here, but other than that, they're all just cramped together. Very small buildings. Lots of different brickwork on this, isn't there? That's like it's been built up in different sections almost. But yeah, other than that, nothing interesting. This image is the view on the Wissahickon near Philadelphia. The Wissahickon. So if you guys know that, let me know. Looks like a little horse and a one-man cart here getting pulled down some kind of structure over there. So, but I tell you what, this image almost has colour to me. I don't know, do you feel like it almost has colour? I know it's supposed to be black and white, but I feel like it really does have. Maybe that's just the way the image has been tainted. But now, this image we can see clearly the signs of mud flood. Not too much, but the rising floor as it goes up, showing the way that the building starts here and ends there. That's signs that the floor is raised as it goes up to here. It's got its blinds shut. Whatever you call these shutters. It's got its shutters shut on the front of the building here, and you will see down here the signs of mud flood with windows going down into the floor, and obviously the fact that you need these steps to get to the first floor. You know, the first floor starting here. Little ghost of a person that couldn't be bothered to stand still for long enough. But yeah. Also, just have a look at this lamp. Look at that. The way that goes down into there. And that. All the way down there. Look at that. So I've darkened the image now just to allow us to see things a little more clearly. And we will come up here to see that at the top of this building here, we've got this this spire with what looks like a metal ball on it. So is that the Christian tops of the spire there? So is this some kind of religious building? And there's also what would appear to be a long flagpole going up there, as you can see here. And you know, if you look here on the left, you can actually see, looks like pieces of plants growing around on top of this and into there. So it does give you an idea of age. These buildings aren't brand new, you know, well, as if you needed telling that, but they aren't brand new. You know, you've got some of the foliage growing through, and as you say, look at the slow rise here and the windows underground. That would suggest we're looking at a little bit of mud flood. Now we come to this image of Bingham House, wherever that is, and as you can see, there is some kind of tram train thing coming past, so I presume that had a horse on the front pulling that, but you can see it down here. This is one of the wagons being pulled. That's rather large, isn't it, if you think about that. In fact, we'll go to the next image where we've got it darkened, and we can see down here, this is the people carrying tram system with the what would have supposedly been the horse on the front, because this isn't electrified yet, or perhaps the horse is on this side. Not 100% sure, but you can clearly see that there, that was moving, and this has ended up here, so you can see that does look like almost a modern train, but presumably would have had a horse pulling it, unless these are normal train tracks through the middle, because I know there's tram tracks, so possibly train tracks in the middle here as well. Somebody from Philadelphia will have to tell me if that's the way it works. But once again, look down here, windows in the floor on these, you know, on these big buildings. Why would you do that? Rooms going down into the ground again, below this building. And you know, you look at the height of this to that, it does make you wonder whether they're supposed to be taller. You know, whether they've genuinely sank down and they've just added all this facade on and fixed the building up. Now you will notice all the wiring coming across, a lot of wiring. Would have been wires everywhere. So if you see anything else that's interesting in this image, please let me know in the comments below. Now this image says 11th Street Opera House. I think I've already darkened this one. This looks pretty dark, but we'll have a peek what we can see. Look at the roads, by the way. Complete dirt, you know, because all the horses, you know, they'll be wanting to walk on mud, you know, and they'll be shitting everywhere. This is absolutely grim. Building looks relatively normal. I do find the lights on this balcony quite cool. Now this is the Wissahickon Creek, apparently. That was the one from the beginning, but this time it's called it the Union League, so I don't know if that's just a naming mistake, but we'll ignore it. Well, this is another image of that building, so I presume actually that the first was a naming mistake, but we'll carry on. This is the Union League, and this is from the other side of the building, so we do have a couple of interesting things in this. We've got a better view first of our mud flood windows. Like, say, why would you be building these windows at walking height for pedestrians just to peek in and stuff? It's crazy. And then as well, you know, if you're in that building, it's just going to be uncomfortable, isn't it? You're going to have to build it kind of half into the ground. Stuff like that is stupid. But we will notice there's two very distinct types here. I don't know if this version is clearer on this right, but there is two distinct versions of lamp here, of street lamps that they've got. This one looking a lot more basic and kind of blurred there. You can go check if that's the same on the other image, because it's got this weird thing hanging off. So let's go check if that's the same on this one. Yeah, it is. Okay, that's weird. You see the way that's supposed to go like that? You'd think that'd go down to here. That's where the light is. But there's this coming out over on this side. I don't understand what that is. But okay. Maybe that's some signs of Photoshop. Now this one looks a lot more ornate. I mean, I presume the quality will be really bad on big TVs right now, so I'll zoom out. But this one looks very ornate, and we've seen it before. We'll see it again. So don't worry, and we'll move on. Now this image is the darkened one, where we can actually see the flagpole. The light cuts out, and look how ridiculously big that flagpole is for this building. Like, there's just no need for that level of patriotism. But you know, this image actually, yeah, this better defines what we're looking at. This looks really old and gothic, and then this over here just looks weird. What's that blur about? I presume the lamp must have been moving too fast for the shutter speed of the camera. Interesting to note, by the way, that we didn't bring this up before, that we have these lamps again installed right into the stonework of this. I find that really interesting, and they do look to be the same design. What do you think? Looks like that one. So is this an older one? Is this like an older gas lamp that they're not using anymore, that they're just keeping around for good looks? But they have some built right into the stonework, so whatever is doing that, it's right through the stone, which is impressive. Now this is the Jane building. It says 7th and Chestnut Street or something. So I have no clue about Philadelphia, so if anyone's from Philadelphia, you'll probably have more fun looking at this than I am. But still, this is just normal street. Now this street looks a lot cleaner, as you can see. No mud and dirt here. This looks properly paved, and it has the tram tracks going down the middle there. It does appear that we have a couple basement stores again, but this generally looks quite normal. Got one of our flagpoles up here, and this, just looks relatively okay. Although completely devoid of people, that is one thing I'll notice. So how they managed to get this street completely clear of people for 10 minutes in those days is pretty impressive. But now this says the post office, I think. So yeah, our post office, we come to the darker one. See again these ridiculous flagpoles, absolutely unnecessary. In the distance we can see another kind of very tall spire there on the top of that. That's very tall, isn't it? That looks like some kind of church style building possibly, or Capitol style, but then it's got a huge flagpole at the top. But yeah, you see some people hanging around here. Nothing too interesting. Bit blurred from all the people walking past. Only a couple stayed still. And yeah, as well, you'll notice these long winches here coming out. Are these to do with getting stuff into these buildings? Are they winches or are they flags? I'm not sure, because I've seen on Amsterdam buildings they'd have little winch style things to help get things into the top floors of these buildings. Or is that just a flagpole? You'll have to tell me. But yeah, see again these changing lampposts. They've got completely different lampposts down the road, haven't they? But yeah, we'll also notice this goes down behind here. You can't see the steps that go down, and this building is up, so there's a lot of uneven ground around here. Now this is Gerard's Bank on 3rd Street. We can see a really Greco-Romano design here with this Pantheon style pillar to the front. Absolutely lovely design. Now that looks like a winch, but I'm not 100%. It's got another large pole going up that way as well, so I think it might have a winch and a flagpole. Over here we can see some of the electricity lines. Look, going there, there. Look at down there as well. Buildings underground. If you dig out a basement, you can damage the whole structure. And the thing is, it isn't digging out a basement. They've got the brickwork around here. Look, you can see that this goes down. Look, that goes down into the ground there. I'm not going to claim it's anything. I'm just here to point at stuff and let you decide. This is First National Bank. Once again, the roads here with the trams going down the middle. See what looks like wire in here, going up to this here, connected to the side of the building, as you can see. And that's That's connecting down to all of these. I love this. You can see that behind the facade is just our standard red brick. See? So this is just the facade on the front. It's got another giant flagpole. How many flags does one city really need? And there's another one of these here. So I think these, I'm not sure if these are flagpoles or something to do with the winch. I'm pretty certain I've seen flags hanging from them before. Oh, there's a very tall utility pole as well. That goes all the way up to there. But yeah, we'll move on to the next image. This one is Continental Hotel. And yep, you know, this is how people are getting around in those days. Look at that. And they're building all this. This is how they're transporting all their brick, everything. It is amazing when you think. Look at all the, oh, you can't really work it out, but got ornate statues on the front and stuff. But just remember, behind all these fronts is the same red brick. You know? All of it. More of these hanging off. And down here we can see different types of lamp. So as they've changed through the years, is this the old one we saw and the new one we saw? Yeah. This one's quite cool. This is the State House and Independence Hall. So if we'll go to our darkened image, because we prefer that. And yeah, let's have a peek around, shall we? Down here you can clearly see tips of a window coming into the ground there, so that looks pretty mud flooded. You got the steps just to get to the first floor, so you consider that's the first floor. You got a window there. Ridiculous. All you're doing there is creating a way for water to get in the event of a flood. More buildings there going down. And look at all the different spires on top of this as we go around here. I think we'll jump over to this one. This one looks a little bit more clear. So, no, right, this is, whew, that's very interesting. So, see this, just so that you know that that's in both images. That's not something that's just on one image. It's on both. See this super tall spire here? Right, we'll come back to all this, but just look at this. And up here. Up here. Up here. And we don't know how far it goes or whether it stops there. But look at that. What the fuck is that? Literally, it's in both images. It seems like a very tall spire or something in the background. Not 100% sure. Now you can see this building. There's some kind of clock on the front, and it's got at the top our nice Antiquitech style tippage. Never said that word before. Tippage. But yeah, you can see another one there. So they're really enjoying these, aren't they? And again, what the fuck is that? You can see it on this one. Goes all the way down to the bottom, all the way down to the bottom. So that isn't just a fuck up on one of the photos. That's why you've got both the images. Sometimes you'll see something on one image and it's not on the other, and you go, okay, so maybe it was just a mistake. But if it's on both, that's pretty evident that there's something here. Very strange. And see it in the background. Anything else? No? Nice buildings other than that. I'll just point to this side. You see how there's kind of like a darker shade that's not really on this side? Well, look at this on the next image. This is definitely some kind of fuck up with the photo production process. Now, in about the same place, we have a tall spire coming up. But there is now, let's get in on this, there's something there, and there's also, you can see there's some kind of thing over the rest of it. It's like a picture has been mixed together with this one accidentally somehow, or you know they've done something wrong here, because as you can see there is giant sections of a building placed over this in blue. It's very very hard to see, so I think I've got a darker version. Yep, there. This'll. So look at this, and this is right where that spire is, by the way. So that spire, even though you can't see it go all the way up, that spire's still there, but this time there's this blue thing here, and giant sections of a building that are going up at a very strange angle. Now, it's most likely that this is from somewhere in this image, but I can't see anywhere in this image where that would be from. There's no buildings that I see that look like that. So what have they done there? And again, look at that spire that's there. That's in all of them. What is that? I mean, if it was something nefarious, you'd think they wouldn't leave it in there, so it's obviously just a mistake, but that's very strange. What do you think that is? I'd love to hear your opinion on this. What is that? Now, this image again is just of one of these bridges, and I think I might have been right with these boats dropping off shit on the shore. We can see all the pieces of wood here, and I'm not sure what that is, sand or stone or something. And yeah, these are the boats they're using. You can see there's quite a lot of them here in the port. Absolutely fuck tons. But nothing interesting, so we will move on. Now this is the customs house. Once again, a giant spire going up the top. We saw this building earlier. Remember I said about how there's the path going down here? And this one's high up. Now, take a look at this. Just on the sides of these here. Not sure what that is. Looks like a piece of it blocking something. But look at that. And that looks like it could have been a door or a window itself, but is that possibly it? Is this part of the building and they've just added the stairs? It does look like the stairs are a different material almost. This looks cleaner than that side. But look at that. That's ridiculous, isn't it? And you think having these windows down here. Wow, absolutely crazy. That's the darker image for you. I don't know what they've done here. This just looks weird, doesn't it? That's not proper shading. You can see something's either been spilt on that or they've done something to it. But this is what I mean. They do fuck with photos. Anyone that thinks they weren't messing with photos back then is an idiot. They fully were. They could take 3 different graphics like this and stitch them together like Photoshop. Like today, how you will go and take a mask of an image and place it on top of another image and create your layers and then blend them together. You could have done that, but you just have to do it in person. You wouldn't do it on a computer. You take the separate individual graphics that you've got and you can put them together and then add on a bit of painting sometimes or drawing to blend in areas. It's true. It happens all the time in old images. I'm talking about the practice of photoshopping, photo editing. That's a very real thing. This is the Broad Street Presbyterian Church. So look at this interesting building, isn't it? Look at that. I think I've got hopefully a darker version. No. I presume there was nothing really that interesting in the image then, that's why I didn't do it. But yeah, look at that. It's got some interesting statues on the top. The architecture really doesn't fit the rest. It's beautiful. But we'll come over now to the customs house on the other side, and yeah, we can see that is a door. So that had something blocking it before. There is in fact a door down here going into that. So that does beg the question whether these stairs are just added on, and this is part of a pre-building or something, and this was maybe this is just another one of these windows further down that we saw. But either way, again you can see the tall spire. It's absolutely impressive building, but again, underneath all this facade is red brick. Most likely. I won't die on that hill, but I'm pretty sure. But yeah. See darkened image. See if you can spot anything strange. I don't want to waste too much time going through absolutely every minute detail. But yar. Now this is the Masonic Hall. I have a drawing of this image so you can see it a bit better, but hopefully, have we got a darkened version? Yeah, so we'll go with this at the top of this building. Look at this. So this has some really church-like design to that. Now, is that a hint? Because this is the Masonic Hall, and that has what looks like Antiquitech at the front, but you will notice it's only a facade on the building. This, this Antiquitech doesn't go all the way round. It's just a facade on the front. You see, right behind it there. So if you looked at the building head on, you'd be okay to assume that all the way round it was beautiful Gothic architecture, but it's not. Now down here we will see that this road looks like a piece of shit compared to the other one. Quite literally covered in shit. This is called, did I darken it? This is Frederick Greif's monument, whoever that is. Now we can see that this looks like it has that same kind of Antiquitech sculpture-like design at the top. It looks almost like it's the tip of something else that's been moved there. Now it looks like it's just placed in a fountain or something. And up here behind we can also see a section of another building that seems to be either just behind this hill or going down into this hill. So it does make you wonder whether all this here, this mud and this dirt and these trees, is that stone going into there, like as in blockwork. So yeah, I think I would be right in suggesting that, considering we can see blockwork going into this muddy, flooded area, you see what I'm saying? Right, and then they've got all the trees growing on it, so under here is going to be more of this, way more of that. See it? So I'll zoom right in so you can see what I'm talking about. See how we've got blockwork going into the rocks here? Yep, right behind the monument. You see, you realise, oh okay, so now they've got, that's a bridge going around this. It looks like a bridge anyway, or some kind of railing going around that. And then this building itself is going down into this dirt. So I wouldn't be surprised if underneath all of this is more blockwork and more things like this down underneath all this. It's covered. Now this says New Chestnut Street Theatre. Once again we see these giant spires at the top, and it has some did not mean to zoom in that far, I do apologise. Just some of the images on the buildings. Same stuff we've seen already, I guess. You know, some buildings going down, dirty tracks for a couple horses to be rolling around. Where are all the people? Where are all the people who have built this? This would have taken a lot of people to build all this. Where are they all? I mean, I understand getting one or two roads clear, but these guys have gone around clearing apparently every single street in the area and taking photos when no one's there. It's crazy. Now this is just another image of our post office. We can see something coming in from this top. That there. In the distance we can see our super tall spire. So this thing is, I think this thing's starting to appear like it's in a lot more than just one photo, so it seems to be something. What is that? Giant, absolutely humongous flagpole? You know, for when your standard patriotism isn't enough. Although there's just something doesn't look right about that. I can't really use anything else as a reference, but this at the top, I don't know if you can see it, it looks like whatever this is kind of goes off the page a little bit. as if someone's added it on. It looks like someone's like added that on. This looks like somebody's drawn it on with a pencil. And then at the top there, really hard to see, but they've just missed a bit. See if I can zoom in and show you. See, there's the paper, and this is the photo, and just there at the top, I'll keep my mouse away because I know about that yellow thing, but just here at the top, it's like the pencil's gone off the top and just missed a little bit. I'm not saying that's what it is, but this to me just looks just looks weird compared to this. This is really clear and nice, and then that is just like someone's drawn a straight line up. You get me? Anyone else feeling this? Doesn't look right. Really don't look right. It might just be the image. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy to be wrong. But it just looks weird. Now the thing is, like I say, it might not be nefarious. Maybe the image didn't pick it up, so someone drew it in. It doesn't mean it has to be nefarious. I'm not suggesting that the person that was drawing it on was laughing manically with an evil plan in mind. I just mean maybe it got cut off halfway because of camera limitations. So somebody made the executive decision to draw the rest of it in because they thought it looked better than having half of it cut out. So I'm not immediately suggesting it's nefarious. But this is pretty weird, this thing in the background. See that? Mark there, unfortunately, so we can't see on that image. But very strange indeed. Okay, now we're back onto the Ledger building. And you know what? We've got a new design of lamp. New design of lamp, people! Look at that. New design. That's awesome. That's the chunky monkey of the lamps, isn't it? Look at that. Whew. Have a whole inferno in there. But yeah, I'm going to shut up now. See, more flagpoles up here. Every building has to have its flagpole. Gotta make sure you got your flagpole. And yeah, just stuff we've seen. Nice little statue here of this bloke. Whatever he's doing. And if you guys notice anything that you want me to come back and talk about, feel free to let me know in the comments. More train track there going around. Or tram track. Although that looks like a wider track, so it does make me wonder if that's an actual train, and that's the track. Another view of the Ledger building, apparently. Chestnut Street above 4th, north side. And now these ones have some people in, so at least we've got people. I like that these guys actually hung around for long enough to be seen in the image, though, you know. Actually made sure. Very normal. But yeah, just another view, really. See all the wires going around. Now this is a close-up view of one of those things we saw before on the walls. Look at that. So you see these metal ones, right? They're the more advanced versions of the shitty wooden ones you sometimes see down on the streets. So this is when they know what they're doing. They do this. But then other times they'll just use wood because they don't really have time to make it neat and tidy. Or maybe they forgot how or something, I don't know. Maybe you've only got one really good electrician in the whole town, so we've probably got a darker view of this. This is Chestnut Street above 4th, south side. So again, look at these gigantic flagpoles. What is it with people and having humongous flagpoles? I appreciate that you Americans you do love your flags, but just unnecessary. The flag has to be at least 3 times the size of your building. Sorry, I'm going to be offending people, aren't I? Anyway, now this is Chestnut Street above 3rd, and yeah, we're looking at the same stuff really. Giant flagpoles in the background, wires running across. It's basically the beta test of Philadelphia at this point. But yeah, some interesting stuff. If you want to see these images, I think they're on the Library of Philadelphia. So I don't have a link, so unfortunately don't ask me for a link because I had to go around saving these images. But you can find it on the Library of Philadelphia. So there you go. Ah, here we go. We got a beautiful example of our 2 different forms of electrical life in Philadelphia. On this side, we have a very nice. In fact, we've got it halfway down. Look, we got a nice ornate version where they were trying, and then halfway down, someone was like, "Fuck it, this is taking too much time," and they just started using planks of wood with nails in them. Like somebody just gave up and started wrapping the wires around wood instead of bothering to do all these. So yeah, and as you can see, they've carried on just using 2x4s basically all the way down the road. So that's quite strange, isn't it? Got this one very ornate, old looking. This is like, oh come on guys, if we're having electricity, we've got to have it looking nice. And then after like 5 hours, someone was like, fuck it, Tim, honestly, who gives a shit? Just use the planks of wood. Now this is 3rd Street below Chestnut, okay? So once again we can see more of these going all the way down. More of these. These again, either flags or... Oh, are they possibly flags that haven't gone up? As in, like, do they pull them down, let them hang at a level, and then when you put your flag up, is that what they're doing with that? Maybe. These guys have got their flags pointed up. So yeah, everyone's got a fucking flag, haven't they? This is crazy. I'm going to stop saying the word flag. Flag. This is the Dr. Jane's building. Dr. Jane deserved a whole building, to be fair. So much doctoring to do. Now look at the top of this. It looks like it's snatched off a castle, doesn't it? Stuck on the front of a building. But behind the facade again, you can see the brick, as you'll always find. More of these flagpoles coming up. That looks like an error with the image. Yeah, just horse and wagon dragging everything around, as you can see. But yeah. Now this is another view of our Masonic Hall. Let's see if we got a darker version. And I tell you what, oh yeah, thank God that's not on both, because that would have freaked me the fuck out. Look at that. If that had been on both, I would have been like, turning the computer off. Not today. Not here to be dealing with spooky orbs. But yeah, there's nothing on that side, but it's still a cool notion, isn't it? Maybe that's the hint. Maybe they're leaving us little breadcrumbs. But this is the Masonic Hall. Look at that, absolutely gorgeous. They really put their time into the front of this building, didn't they? And yeah, to summon the orbs. So this image again, we've got this giant flagpole coming across the Mercantile Library. And look at this. Absolutely brilliant, that building, isn't it? The Pantheon design again on the front. But I tell you, the brick there at the front kind of gives away the age of some of these buildings. They're a lot older than you'd think. And again, look, mud-flooded tiny window going into the ground there. Look, that is a tiny piece of window going into that basement ground. Now, people will say it's for natural lighting into the basement. But just remember, these guys did not have very good sewage and drainage systems. So if you had any rainfall, this is turning very quickly into a swimming pool, and your windows there will be filling up with mud. And if they break, your building is going to be flooding. So, it's crazy. Now this is the Horticultural Hall. Once again, it's got its flag. No matter what you're doing, you need your flag. More windows going into the ground. Look. With these protective barriers to try and contain any damage from said floods. Because it's terrible. But yeah, and you can see they've got to have the stairs to go to the first floor. And then look at the size difference in the windows between the second floor and the first floor. It's almost like that should be the same length. You know? And these, look at this, these doors, they're just those windows, aren't they? They've just added stairs halfway, and they're doors now. You can see over here as well on this building, can't really see much because it's behind something, but you know, a bricked up window here, a smaller out of shape window, and then a really long window. So it makes you wonder if these two are supposed to be connected or something, especially the bricked up window. But And we can also see our different types of lamp on display. We love our lamps, don't we? Sorry if the audio is too quiet, by the way, because I tried something different today. And I realised testing something different during a whole video probably wasn't the wisest decision. But whatever. So if it is too quiet, let me know. But hopefully it'll help me not have to edit as much, because the other one was way too sensitive and you'd hear like every fucking noise ever. Like, you could probably hear, if I had an aneurysm, a silent aneurysm, you would probably hear that fucking vessel pop in my brain before I even fucking felt it. That's how sensitive this microphone is. Yeah, that's just another image of that. Now we're on La Pierre House, the Academy of Natural Science, and the Union League. So I don't know which one's which. I think that's the Union League, isn't it? We can see it's got its flagpole. Look at that. It's got its flagpole. I won't comment on how ridiculous it looks. That's like if you had a sword that was too big for you to pick up. That's what that looks like. And then at the top here, that's a very nice little. What is that? Is that an eagle? Is it a griffin? Looks a bit eagerly, griffiny. I don't know. Or is it a gargoyle? You tell me. And look down here at the bottom. We can see how the first floor literally begins at a balcony, and then beneath there's more. There's more building. So that's been completely buried. It's crazy. And as well, up here, look at our rudimentary electrical systems. I say rudimentary as if I could do something fucking better, but over here is the Fairmount from the locks. Now this is interesting. Let's have a look at this. Look at this. So they've got the arcades going down into the water. I'd love to know more about this place. I might have to go and research it. I wonder if this has always been for water, or whether the water has risen, or whether this was some kind of system to allow, because usually with, like you say, with locks, the system there would allow you to have some kind of flow going on, which is you know, good for canal systems, good for energy systems, water systems obviously. So that's interesting. Look at that. And there's this in the background, just going off into this hill. I think this might have been the tower from before. So this bit here is the bit I think's been mud flooded, and under all these trees will be more buildings, perhaps connected to this. Perhaps this is actually old world, and it's part of a giant castle that's under here, and pieces of it are sticking out, because that's what we saw before. So it's a possibility. That's the same image there. And where are we now? The State House. Okay, so the State House once again. Look at these fucking tall things. They don't make sense, do they? Look at that. That's there, and then even fucking higher. Another there, another there. These guys, they loved their flags. They fucking couldn't get enough flags. I mean, look at this here. To get to your first floor, you have to add in stairs just to go in there. And then you've got these windows down there. It's crazy. Same thing all the way down the street. Windows going into the ground, windows into the ground. This kind of stuff I never noticed before. And now, if I go to my local town, in fact, I'm going out tonight. So when I go out tonight, I'm going to be pointing at buildings. My friends won't give a shit, but I'm going to be there like, oh, that's fucking buried. That's fucking buried as well. It's really fun. You should do it. You should go to your local town and do it. And have a crack. Oh, here's another image of the locks. This is cool. But yeah, I encourage you to go to your local town, or if you can't be asked actually going, which is fair enough, go find like the image archives for your town and try and find the oldest photos and just go through them. You'll find some really fun stuff. I mean, you might not be like me, you might like enjoy doing normal things, but if you are like me and you like doing nerdy things, then do it. Trust, it's really fun. But you can see, like, what are these balconies about at the locks? You know? I genuinely want explaining to me. Because these look like they were part of something else before they've been turned into this. This looks like, if you said it was part of a castle, you'd believe it, wouldn't you? So, I think I've got double images of everything, so... That is the wire bridge. Can't really see much, but it's a wire bridge going across there. Pretty bad image. And that is our last image. So I'm actually glad, because that was starting to get a little bit boring. It's been an hour. So thank you for checking out these images. What do you think they were? I really want to know. Let me know down in the comments below if you saw anything interesting, anything you want to talk about. I don't know. You know, how are you feeling? If you just want to talk about yourself, then drop a comment down below. Let me know. How are you? I do actually care. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. These images from, where were they? 1867 to 1869 from Philadelphia, and they were on display at the Centennial Exposition in 1876. So these were good photos for them to be on display at the Centennial Exposition. Or were they photos to teach the people of Philadelphia about their own city? I noticed a lot of you enjoyed the Philadelphia Exposition, so I thought you might like going through some of these photos.